Welcome to the Michigan Travel Show, a kaleidoscope of stories about the people, places, and events that shape our great state.
Good morning. Here we are at Thunder Bay Resort and the Perfect Quilters Retreat in Upper Michigan. With us today we have
Pam Henrys from Everlasting Stitches in Holt, Michigan.
Pam is with us as one of the vendors of our retreat. And Pam, could you tell us a little bit about how you got started in quilting?
Well, I'm actually a surgery technician by trade, and it was my husband's idea that I start this quilt shop because I loved fabric and I loved sharing it with my friends and helping them pick out the fabrics and put together their quilts. And so he said one day, you know, I really think you should open a quilt shop. So it kind of started from that. I kept saying no though for a long time. Then one morning in the shower it hit me. What woman, if their husband wanted them to have this much fabric, would say no? So now I just buy it by the bolts. It's not an issue. I don't say, do I want a half yard? It's a bolt.
I hear what you're saying, and I'm a quilter wannabe myself, and I'm just in love with all your fabric. Now, do you have a special type of fabric that you like to carry in your shop, or do you just go with anything that goes, or just what is your preference to carry?
I'm a little bit eclectic. I like many different things. I have a full wall of batiks in my shop. I have a lot of Civil War reproduction fabrics. I have a few novelty fabrics and children's fabrics, but a little bit of everything. The only thing I don't carry in my shop are 30s and Oriental prints, and it's only because my shop is limited in space. Otherwise, I'd have that also.
Now, when I came and looked at your shop, I noticed several things around here. I also saw this strange little item over here that I have learned is called a jelly roll. Could you tell us a little bit about this jelly roll?
Better than peanut butter and jelly sandwich. A jelly roll originated from Moda Fabrics, a company based out of Texas. And what they've done is they pre-cut 2.5-inch strips of fabric, and they usually cut one strip from everything in their line of fabric. So there's generally 40 different strips of fabric in a jelly roll. Occasionally they'll duplicate if a line of fabric didn't have 40 pieces in it, but you can make then a nice scrappy quilt out of pre-cut fabric. You get nearly 3 yards of fabric in this. So if you think about the time saving, and a lot of people don't feel like they're very accurate when they're doing their cutting. So if you let someone else pre-cut it, and not only do you save time, but the accuracy is there. So you can have 40 different fabrics by buying a 2.5-inch strip. And no quilt shop will cut you just 2.5-inch strips. So
I understand that perfectly well, and I know you were explaining to me too that Moda also produces, is it 4-inch squares?
5-inch charm squares. They also do 10-inch squares, which they call layer cakes. And they've started doing what start out to be a 6-inch, they cut them as a triangle, so that they call, when you put the triangles together, you end up with the same 5-inch finished square, so they can mix them with all their other pre-cut fabrics.
I see, and that takes even more guesswork out of it. For me, I could just have a quilt and a quilt in a bag to go right away, and I wouldn't have to think about the design, would I?
And you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about the colors going together. They all match. They've all been from a specific line of fabric. It's all pre-cut, so everything just matches and goes together. So they try to make it very easy for ladies getting started quilting.
Pam, your enthusiasm is just absolutely contagious. If I wanted to come to your shop, do you have classes there?
We do have classes. We have a lot of beginner classes. We also, at my shop, do a lot of what I call open sewing or on-demand classes. I can spend hours putting together a schedule of classes. It's never quite the right time for you to come. So if you tell me a project you want to work on, I schedule you time and maybe find 1 or 2 other people who are interested in doing it, and we'll sit down and work on the project you're interested in. We have an open sewing group on Monday evenings who do hand applique, hand stitching. Tuesday nights another open group. On a Friday night we have a wool group that comes. We just do a lot of open. It's a very kind of Cheers-oriented place.
Wow, now you mentioned something else new in that. That's wool. Now what do you do with wool? What does a quilter do with wool?
Well, you know, we're mixing it in with our regular fabrics and putting it just in a quilt. A lot of the older quilts were scrappy and had whatever fabrics your grandmother or mother or whoever had, whatever they could find, their shirtings, their, you know, jackets, whatever it was they weren't using anymore, and they're actually getting put into regular quilts. You wash your wool ahead of time, felt it as if someone washed your sweater when they weren't supposed to. That way it's not going to shrink or change once it's in your quilt. And it's a natural fiber, it's lovely to sleep with once it's been washed, and we just mix it in with our regular fabrics.
Wow, this road is never ending. I just can't imagine doing half of these things that you've just described, and I can tell you're very happy in this business, aren't you?
Yes, I really do enjoy it. I don't get to sew that much myself anymore, however, I do enjoy sharing it with others, and I live through my customers and friends coming in, bringing their quilts in. I love to play fabric and pick fabric out with people for their quilts. So I just kind of live through that. It's very rewarding to see people finish projects.
Pam, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. We're just so happy you're here with us today at Thunder Bay Resort.
Thank you for inviting me.